Hey there, everyone. How y'all doing for a Tuesday afternoon or morning or evening, depending on where you are? But it is Biz Tip Tuesday, and this is a special shout out for my jumpers over in Jumpstart My Dream Biz for the aspiring business entrepreneurs. How are you doing today? I am Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach. I am so happy to be here with you guys. So, listen, before we get started, just want to say a shout out to those of you who are new members. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We do live coaching at least once or twice a week, in addition to the live discussions that we have inside of our Facebook group. For those of you who are not already members, I do want to invite you on over to jumpstartmydreambiz.com, and it will take you to our Facebook group. It is a private Facebook group. Simply answer 3 small questions and you are in like Flynn. If you have already launched your business and you would like help to grow and learn how to use other strategies that are going to help you to improve your methods and your marketing strategies for content marketing in particular, as what we call our DIYers, please visit us over at the smallbizsociety.info. Is the space for our newbie entrepreneurs. And we are DIYers, meaning we do it ourselves because that's how we roll. But just because we are in business for ourselves does not mean we have to be in business by ourselves. And that is what the space is all about. So we'll come back to that as well. But since today is our Biz Tip Tuesday, for our jumpers that are part of our Jumpstart Your Dream Biz, who are in aspiration mode, who are getting ready to jump off those fear fences, leave that procrastination to the side, and start the process to design and plan and launch their dream biz that they've been waiting for. So today we have a specific topic for Biz Tip Tuesday, and that has to do with what are you going to call your business? Essentially, what's in a name? And the answer to that question is everything. And so what I thought I would do for you today is run down what I have as, call it my top 10 tips, things that you really need to think about when it comes to setting a name for your business. Now, that being said, I do want this to be done with what we would call a sense of caution. And the reason for that is once you're tied to it, it's kind of like marriage. I always bring this up. It's either dating or marriage. I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of like marriage, kind of like dating. Once you commit, you in. And it takes a lot. It's more expensive to undo or get divorced than it is to get married. You know what I mean? So when it comes to a business name, you do want to put a lot of forethought into it. So, and for those of you who have already launched a business and you feel like maybe it's time, maybe the branding just hasn't settled the way that you want, it's not too late. If you want to change your branding name, you can do that. There's no rules to say that you can't. But just like a divorce, there's a process you need to kind of go through to make it work. But since this is really focused on my aspiring entrepreneurs today, I want to talk to you about some of the things that you really need to think through when it comes time to creating the business name and then how you're going to be able to carry that over. Now, this is part of one of the steps that you'll take in our upcoming masterclass. I'm kind of giving you a little bit of a head start in how that can happen for you. So let's get started. Now, what I'm also going to do for you at the end of this session is that I'm going to share with you some online generators that will help you create those names for your business. So stick around so that you too can understand how it is that you can take advantage of some of the tools out there to help you through this process. But right now, it's all up in here. It's what we really want to focus on today. So that being said, let's kind of get started with a couple of tips, shall we? So tip number 1 is, well, even before I give you the tip, let me just say this. Your business name is your first chance to capture the attention of your future customer. They don't know you, but their name's going to come before they see you or hear about you. They're probably going to get the name out there more than anything else. So it's really important that coming up with that business name is going to be a primary task, an objective that you want to have when it comes to creating your business plan. in your model. And so you don't want it to be an afterthought. And there's a lot that kind of comes along with it because, you want to have something that is going to be able to stand out amongst all of the competition that you may have. So this could be somewhat of a challenge for a lot of people. And so I figured let's start at the very beginning because I think when you get your name, you kind of get motivated around all the other pieces and parts. So this is certainly something you would do before, of course, you get with the logo. And logo is kind of last. I hate to tell you this. I know everybody wants to go with the fun, cutesy stuff around messing with the logo. And I always tell people don't mess with logos until you know where you're going to go. Then you can go with the logo. All right, that being said, let's kind of get into some of what I call the 10 top things you really do need to think about. So, tip number one, I guess I'm going to put these two inside of our video so that way you'll have it, okay? So, item number one is test your name's uniqueness. Now, what does that really mean? Well, what we're saying here is when you're coming up and finalizing that business name in and of itself, you want to test it for all the options that you'll see out there that's going to really resonate with your prospective customer. Now, does the name sound intriguing? Is it invoking some type of emotion? Is it positive? Is it negative? Are you setting some aspirational visual? Like, what's the vision that's going to get set in somebody's head when you're testing out how unique it is? Right? You know you're not going to call yourself Coca-Cola. You know you're not going to call yourself Nike. You know you're not going to call yourself Walmart. They're taken. But you do want to have some sense of how is this going to be something that's unique and, of course, that is available. So that's step number one. You want to also think about the fact that maybe it's something that is maybe has some special meaning to you. Does this have something that's meaningful to you? Because again, you're going to get married to this name as part of who you are. And so that also is an opportunity for you to really think about the naming of your business, that it has some connection to you, because part of the business model and your framework and your planning is to be able to tell a story. And so your backstory should have a connection to your front-facing business name. That makes sense. So you will choose something that sounds kind of cool, but maybe it doesn't really have anything to do with who you are and what you do or what type of a product you're providing. So think about that as an option. Make sure that your name means something to you. And of course, this might be kind of a given, and I understand, but I never make assumptions. So just make sure, again, the name's not already taken. Look it up. Even if it's just slightly off, even if it's on the wording, make sure it's not already taken. Do your due diligence. That's step one thing to think of. That's number 3. Another thing that you might want to also consider is go for a name that kind of maybe even tells a story. I mean, let's face it, you've got to be able to make the connections that you want for your business. And so telling a story in that short window as a name could bring a lot of different connotations to the person who's seeing your name for the first time. So when people ask you about that business name, and they are, because they're always intrigued, well, how did you come up with that name? You want to be able to have a story that kind of goes along with it. So have a great story that's kind of back it up, right? It's not either it came from an experience. It may have been something that was passed down from generations. It may have something to do with how you came to create your product or your service. There might have been some type of experience that you had, right? It might have just been a simple conversation. And so having a story and being able to share this, having a name that has a story behind it helps you in 2 ways. Number one, it's going to give you an answer to the question, how did you come up with that name? But number 2, it's going to help you in storytelling. Storytelling for your business is a critical component in your content marketing strategy. You want to be able to articulate in as many different ways as possible and how you're going to be able to connect with your potential customers. People always connect with people who have something in common with them. So, any way that you can um, basically open yourself up and have something to say that's intriguing and interesting, people are more prone to want to listen and know more about you. So have something simple at the same time. So maybe it could be, 3 syllables or less. Is kind of, I don't want to call it a rule of thumb, but again, it should be something that kind of rolls off the tongue. But what's the story that you're going to have a little associated with that particular business name? Another thing is, of course, you do want to make sure it's easy to read. As much as it is easy to say, you want to make sure that it is easy to read. Now, that means that simple words take you further. The more complex your word choices are, that means people might stumble on it and they're going to put too much effort into trying to figure out what the heck does that mean. And you never want your customers to have that face like, huh? Because if they have the face, that means they're probably going to question if they even want to have anything else more to do. If I got to think that hard to figure out what's the name of this business and I can't even pronounce it or read it, that means, don't know if I want to go any further. You want to filter out any obscurities that could be in the way of somebody wanting to enter into this relationship with you. And the first way they're doing that is just by recognizing your name. Now, that's not to say there are some not so unique names, as we mentioned earlier, but don't make them so unique that they're so complex that no one's able to make out whatever the heck it is that you're trying to name your business. Does that make sense? Okay, so just wanted to keep that in mind. That was number 5. Now, think about the emotions as you want to invoke when you're thinking about the naming of your business. Is there something that you want people to experience? You want them to know, you want them to feel. What could that be like for them? Right? So, in my case, as the Keep It Simple coach, I want people to feel at ease, right? Simplicity is something that most people say, oh, well, if it's simple, that means it's doable. And if it's doable, I can relax. I don't have to feel like I'm under pressure, right? Like armor all. Armor all already puts me in this tensity of armor is strong, it's sturdy, right? So your word choices. So when you think about what type of an emotion do you want your name brand to evoke? Another example I'm going to give you, because one of my good friends, Kelly, is hosting one of her 30-day challenges that I'm a part of this week. And one of the things I love about her brand is it's called Love People and Make Money. Well, I love people and I like to make money. And that means that in her case, you can do both. You can love people and make money and be successful, right? But notice the emotions that are kind of evoked just in that simple name, right? So there's opportunities for you, again, word choice. How is that going to evoke? If there's some type of an emotion you want people to feel when they say your name or hear your name, okay? That's tip number 6. Now, another strategy that you may want to try is called mix up, or I call it mix up or mix and match. But essentially what we're doing here is we're saying take all of these kind of keywords, like throw out all the words when you think about your business and your name. Think of just put all the words, all the adjectives, all the verbs, right? Nouns, whatever. Just throw a bunch of words out on your word on that, right? Just kind of jot them all down. And then start to just kind of mix and match them together. You may never know how you may come up with that unique name. That again, what are the names and the words that kind of come to mind when you're thinking about your business or you're thinking about your product? So if you mix them together, what we call like a mashup, right? You want to kind of see what words can combine together and come up with something that could be a unique name that is going to be meaningful to you, because these are the words that you are thinking about when you think of what you do, who you are, and what you're able to serve and provide as a service to your customers. So try mixing and matching words as another opportunity to coming up with your biz name. Sound cool? I love to see how that may work for some of you. So don't forget to drop those here inside of the comments if that's a strategy that you ended up using that ended up being a produced you a good business name. Now, you may want to also um, pick a name that levels some, maybe gives you some sense of authority. So, again, depending on the type of name that business that you have, you may want to have something that gives something a little bit more oomph, that gives some people that you have this personality, you have a purpose, and that, again, a level of not personality, but authenticity is another way. So you may want to be able to target a certain type of people like premier or preem or supreme or somebody mentioned greasy spoon if you're a restaurant, right? But a greasy spoon in the name is already going to evoke, this could be one of those dive diners, but it could also intrigue enough people to say, "Ooh, a greasy spoon." That may mean they have really tasty food for some places, so you never know. But is that enough to kind of give an authority on something versus somebody says like all in eggs? Well, if it's all in eggs place, then you know that I'm gonna get my eggs 24 different types of ways if that's what they have to offer. And you are the authority in all in eggs because that's what you specialize in. So therefore, it gives you that authority and it may also be able to give you that level of authenticity. So think of it along those lines. That's tip number 8. Now, another tip that you may want to think about is, let's see what I got here on my notes. Now, choosing a name that's relatable is also something to be thinking about because, again, you're trying to make connections with your customers because they don't know you yet. So, if that's the case, then how can this name be something that's relatable? If you're needing to put the name of ice cream in it, or as in the case was the eggs, right? Then they know it's something that's mostly a breakfast place, right? So again, choosing a name that has some relatability to what people are accustomed to connecting with is another way of kind of saying. And it's also going to invoke some type of interest in some conversations. So, excuse me, I got a hiccup. But you don't want to come up with something that's so generic that it's not going to be anything that anybody can really relate to. Like garbage dump, it was like, well, that's kind of generic, right? But you may have had a whole different other meaning toward it because it's not that type of relatableness to it. But a successful business is certainly one where the audience can try to, you're trying to sell to, maybe is a good or better way of putting it. But think about who you may want to think about your demographics. You may want to think about your location. You want to think maybe about an age bracket, like for instance 21, what's the name of that, Forever 21, right? That was relatable. This was a brand name of a business that pretty much was uh, targeted towards a particular uh, women's apparel for a particular age group. Well, then that makes sense, right? So there's different ways that you're going to be able to make choosing a name that has some level of relatedness to the buyer itself. So that's just like kind of one example that you may want to consider. And last tip is, don't go for, this is like a big no-no. So I want to put it in that case. And that is, try not to use humor or some type of inside joke as a part of your name. Be cautious around that. And here's why. No one else knows the joke. Nobody else knows the backstory enough, and it requires too much insight. So adding humor to your title of your business name is not going to be helpful. So you want to kind of do it with a lot of caution in regards to that because, like I said, it's just not something that people are easily going to connect with. Unless you're a comedy club, okay, uh, are people going to naturally get it? But don't put any too much, again, if the humoristic aspect in it, you don't, everybody's level of humor is not the same. So you might think it's whimsy and cute and a little funny, but other people won't get it. Especially from a sarcastic standpoint, a lot of people in different cultures don't interpret sarcasm in the same way. So you just want to don't go down that road if you don't have to, if you know what I mean. So that's my only like don't do tools or things to think about. That's one of them. So those are my top 10 things to think about when it comes to creating a name for your business. Now, how about if I was able to give you a little bit of a cheat sheet? Well, not really a cheat sheet, but more of a cheater tool to kind of help you generate those business names. So, there are a couple of tools out there that I figured I'd give you a little bit of a heads up on that you could utilize. Well, basically, are kind of like what we call brand name generators. So, I'm going to put a couple here in the comments so hopefully they'll work. So, let's see here. La, 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 la. So this first one I'm going to share with you guys. I'm going to put it here in the banner and then I'll put it inside of the comments as well. So this first one is called webhostinggeeks.com/name ideas. And there you're able to kind of put some information in. And I'm also going to put it here in the comments so that you'll see it as well. So these are name generator tools. Here's one. Let's see if it's going to go. There we go. All righty. So Name Generator Tools is one website. And there, okay, all you have to do is kind of type in some keywords and then it's going to come up with maybe some randomizing of the letters in the words and you're able to check that out. So that's one site that you may want to consider. So the way how this tool helps you is that it can kind of, again, get a catchy business name in particular. And you can also use this maybe even for your blog post. You can even use maybe for creating a product name. So don't just limit it to your business name. But branding is all a part of it. So that's just one particular tool that you may want to consider. Go back here. All righty. Now, here's another one I came across that I thought was really cool. And is the name cool? Yeah. Cool names, just as it sounds. So here is another one. Hold on one second. No. Hold on one second. Don't go. Okay. Okay. It's just trying to make sure I'm not a robot. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. Okay, that got me in. Okay, no. Okay, we're good there. Next one I have for you is called Name Mesh. So namemesh.com is my other tip tool for you. And inside of this site is very similar in name. It's another opportunity for you to create and generate your name. So you may want to try a couple of these. They all kind of work a little different from each other. So it doesn't hurt to try each one of them as well. Again, I'll put this inside of the post as another link. Let's see if it's going to post up there. There you go. Yeah, namemesh.com is another one. Now, in this particular one, I don't think, let's see. Yeah, you can do short names. You can look for new names. It could be kind of like a mix up. So there's a couple different ways that the tool works. So again, try that one out. And then another one I got for you guys. Let's see, where is it at? There we go. So another one is Word Lab. Now, just gonna posted up in here. And here again is in the, here's in the shortcut, and here I have it inside of the website. So NameLab is another website that also has a name generator tool associated with it that you can take a look at. And I also put it inside of the comments and part of the video, so that what you're seeing here, you'll see on the link. So you're able to click it and link and try it out as another tool for you to do. And I'm gonna give you one more. Let me see what else I got here for you guys. La, 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 la. I think, oh, here we go. It jumped around. One more tool I'll find for you guys. It's called FreshBooks. So FreshBook, again, has their own name generator tool as well. So this is another one that you may want to check out and consider. There we go. FreshBooks, again, business name generator. So here again are another tools that you could use to try out. So yes, you could do it the manual way, or jump in and use tools such as the ones that I've shared with you today. Again, applying some of those tips that I just mentioned, because again, you just want to make sure before you commit to anything, sleep on it, make sure it works, play with it, toy with it, toss it out in the air to a couple of your friends. But most importantly, what you don't want to do is you don't want to be stuck with something and go down this road and then feel like, oh, I really don't like the name. So, like everything else, pause, give it some thought, and then make a commitment. So, this is Dr. Young. I am your Keep It Simple coach. Again, don't feel shy. Jump on over to jumpstartmydreambiz.com for aspiring entrepreneurs like yourselves who not only want to create a great business name for themselves, but they also want to plan, learn, and start and launch the business dreams that they've always desired. And again, if you have already started your business and you'd like some help through our DIY group, Small Biz Society, please visit us over at smallbizsociety.info. And there again, join us as a private Facebook group. We do live coachings and other live events to help you grow your business. This is Dr. Yam, your Keep It Simple coach for Biz Tip Tuesday. Thanks again, and we'll see you real soon. Let's get busy. Bye-bye.